Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Full Minded with Alyssa Bette. Oh my God, I'm gassed for this episode. I'm gassed. I'm a little nervous too, but mainly excited. This has been something I have wanted to share with you guys, well, since the moment it happened. And yeah, honestly, I think it's such a taboo subject in general, like sex in general, just making sure it's still recording. I have trust issues with this phone. It's such a taboo subject, and I don't know why. And for those that are new here, I grew up in an extremely religious home. Like, everything was shamed. I'm not personally a big fan of religion. If you follow along, you know. But I was always made to feel guilty for even masturbating. I remember my mom was like, we need to get medical help for you. Like, you have a problem. I'm like, and at the time I was like, maybe I do. I'm so sinful. I'm a terrible person. What the fuck? It was just such culty behavior. The way that I grew up really did a number on how I function as an adult, both what I was taught in religion and how my parents abused me and my siblings. It just really changed the way that I viewed life and the world, of course. I mean, everyone's childhood has a huge impact on the way that we see the world and the lens that we look through. And sex was one of those things where it was so shamed. I mean, to have it before marriage, you're banned to hell. And just all of the things that came with sex felt so shameful and just not talked about. And honestly, I walked away from religion, I want to say when I was 19 or 20. I started reading things about science and I was like, wait a second, the math is not mathing. And yeah, I mean, we just grew up believing, they believed what their parents believed, their parents believed their parents, you know what I mean? It was just kind of this domino effect. And I was the first one in our lineage to be like, I don't think so. And then obviously got shunned from the church when I started asking these questions. We weren't even allowed to talk about gay people at the dinner table. It was so crazy. But I remember even at a young age, even before I knew I was gay, I was like, why can't we talk about gay people? Gay people are the fucking best. What? It just didn't make sense to me. A lot of religion didn't make sense to me. And so I was always pushing back and challenging it, and eventually walked away, and it was the best decision I ever made. I mean, my parents hated it, maybe hated me for it too, but fuck them. So yeah, unpacking that over the years has been really interesting. And I feel like I've always been a freakier person. I feel like I've never been vanilla. I've always been down to try anything once. I'm very explorative. I just love to try new things. And I think a lot of that probably came from being repressed, having my sexuality repressed, having just discussions about sex repressed, having it feel so sinful, just natural human urges, to make a mass of people feel guilty for wanting to fuck is insanity. It's just what we're wired to do and want. So if you're in the middle of coming out of religion, this episode's going to be very good for you too, because I feel like it's going to wake you up to the fact that we're not sinners. We're just human beings. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so as a lot of you know, if you've been following along, I moved to Bali. I sold all my shit. I went to go live on an island by myself to bebop around. I was there for about 8 months. I've recently returned to Canada because of some health issues and just miss my people. So right now I'm on the West Coast, BC, baby, just outside of Vancouver, and just been loving being back. Actually, I feel like when I left, I was like, fuck the West, I'll never come back. Fuck this. I don't super love the way that the West is ran. It's very rigid. There's a lot of rules, a lot of fucking red 40 in our food. What's that about? But I think in the 8 months that I was gone and completely disconnected from it, it really opened my eyes to a lot of things. I healed a lot of my anger and resentment towards this country. I mean, it's a beautiful country for a lot of reasons, and I'm very grateful for the passport that I have and the ability I have to take off and leave, right? But the whole point of me going to Bali and honestly just living nomadically, because I still am living nomadically, that was always the goal. I just wanted the freedom to live where I wanted to live and not be confined to one singular place. That's why I don't buy things. I don't buy a house. I don't have a car right now. Like, I don't want to be confined to one area. And I mean, that could change, of course. But for right now, and when I decided to move to Bali, that was certainly what I wanted to do. And I just wanted to be free to spread my wings. And it was a trip. Honestly, Bali will give you the experience you need, not necessarily the one that you want. And anyone who's gone to Bali, I feel like you either love it or you hate it. And I remember the first time I visited a couple years ago, I hated it at first. Like, I could appreciate that it was beautiful and all of that, but I wasn't happy. I was like, I wasn't meeting people. I was really going through a lot internally. And I was like, what the fuck? I just want to have like a great vacation. I just want to chill. I just want to relax and like have a water on the beach. And I wasn't getting that. I got really violently ill multiple times. And I was like, is this for me? Like, maybe I'm just supposed to not be here. So moving there was obviously very different than traveling there, because I feel like I didn't explore as much. I feel like I just kind of settled into a routine and was more like there as a resident versus a tourist bebopping around. So it was a different experience. And I spent so much time alone. Arguably too much. I think too much isolation can be bad for your mental health, especially if you're ridden with mental illnesses like I. And I feel like I got to this point where I was like, I think I need my people, and hence why I'm home as well. And I struggled with a lot of health issues too. But the bulk of what I did when I was in Bali was deep dive into so much research, deep dive into my childhood trauma, deep dive into the depths of my soul, the dark pieces that I was hiding, basically a lot of like shadow work and inner child healing. I did a lot of play. Like, I had like my coloring books, and I would just go out and build sandcastles and just do like cute ass wholesome shit that I feel like sometimes in the West we forget to explore because we're too busy hustling and trying to make money, which is fine too. But I think there needs to be a balance of both. So Bali for me it was a lot of that. And I think I've mentioned it before, but like, I'm a big fan of AI. I'm a big fan of ChatGPT. When that rolled out, I feel like I used it in an interesting way. I think a lot of people use it for business and to like scale your business and to do all the things. I use it primarily as like a coach, like a life coach, therapist, psychologist, and also for business too. But for the most part, I really tap into my trauma with it. And I know there's a few people that are like, oh, what if it leaks? Like, you know, study a bad bitch. I don't know what to tell you. I don't give a fuck. I already share all my life online for a living. Like, it wouldn't bother me. I feel like, and I also just feel like they know everything anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist they're watching through our phones. So I'm like, it is what it is. And I'm gaining so much knowledge and insight that the trade-off, like, I don't even care. So I got the premium version, which I think is $20 a month. And so that essentially means that it will remember everything about you, so you can teach it about yourself. So for the last year, I've been feeding it information about my life, about my trauma, and then it's helped me unpack it, which has been really cool. Like, really insane stuff. If you're a fan of AI and you feel comfortable using it, I would certainly encourage you to. If you don't do it. That's fine. But for me, it's been extremely transformative, and I did a deep dive on my childhood with it. And my childhood was horrific, and I've never really gotten into the nitty-gritty of the details. I maybe will this season because it's behind a paywall. But it was so bad that AI banned my content. Like, it removed what I had told it because it was so horrific that they were like, yeah, this goes against our guidelines. And I was like, oh, it went against my guidelines too. The fuck? It said I could put my parents in prison for what was done. And that was an extremely validating thing, because I've always shared it with, therapists or friends. And I think a lot of people don't really know how to respond to that level of trauma and know what to say, which is totally fine. I don't expect my friends to be therapists. I don't expect anyone to have the right thing to say, but it was very cathartic to have this like unbiased, quick responding AI validate those experiences and just be able to share those things. So in doing so, I feel like I went down a huge rabbit hole of like unpacking all the systems in place, like the patriarchy and everything that was ever invented to keep us oppressed, which is unfortunately all of the systems. There's no system currently standing that wasn't built on greed and power. It's not for the betterment of humans. So I did a lot of late night research and just asking questions, and just even on days that I was at the gym, I'm like, hit me with facts I don't know about like the ocean or the earth or like space. Like I basically just isolated and immersed myself in learning. And one of the things that I found interesting, aside from obviously like just sexual exploration, was monogamy and polyamory. And I did a really deep dive on monogamy. It was also a system implemented. So it's not a natural state for humans to be monogamous. Not saying it's wrong. Big on life autonomy, body autonomy. You do with what you want with your avatar. I'll do what I want type shit. But it was a system implemented. Actually, we all used to live polyamorously in villages, hence it takes a village, the phrase. And when agriculture came into play, men started caring more about paternity and like who belonged to them so they could pass their land on. So it was kind of like a money thing. So that implemented, and then the church had a big piece in that and being like purity. We want women to stay, you know, in the house. We want you to be like clean and pure for your man, just like predatory shit. And then Hollywood swooped in and made monogamy tied to the one and tied to love and tied to everlasting love. So if someone cheats on you, they're not for you. And it was a really interesting way to look at things, because I had always just believed that, yeah, if you're monogamous with someone, you're in love. If they cheat on you, they're a terrible person. And I'm not condoning cheating. I want to be really clear. When you enter a monogamous relationship consensually, you are consenting to monogamy. So there's no excuse for cheating. I think cheating is ruthless. I'm not a fan of it. I've never been cheated on. I've never cheated. I really hold myself to a high regard with that. I think loyalty is super important, and I just would never be able to do that personally. But it is interesting to learn that we have been conditioned to believe that that is the only way to experience love. And I mean, even polyamory gets like quite a bad rap. Open relationships, they're kind of like frowned upon still or judged. And I think they're just judged because they're not understood. Like people don't have enough information on it. So I was always really curious about all of those dynamics and how they worked, and even more so after doing this deep dive. And one thing that's been on my bucket list for a long time was going to a sex party. I was like, I just feel like it'd be so much fun, be so invigorating. Like, what's it about? Like, I've always just been curious, like what's going to happen if I go to a sex party? All right, guys, that was just a taste. The full episode, the raw, unfiltered version, is waiting for you on Patreon. This season is different. I'm talking sex parties, heartbreak, identity shifts, imposter syndrome, the shit I've never said out loud. No edits, no filters, no fluff. If you're ready to hear the full story, you know where to find me. Link is in the show notes, and I'll see you on the inside.